Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about Lilo and Stitch from 2025. I think when watching this movie, and I never wanted this to be a movie, but it is a movie. When watching this movie, the biggest thing I thought the entire time is what the fuck? What the fuck is this? What was going on? Who came up with any of this? This is an entire train wreck of a really interesting, cool, smart, personal, human animated movie, and they sort of ripped all that out and made whatever the fuck this thing is. Basically, the plot is like Lilo and Stitch, but like if it was bad. Look, I don't like these movies. I don't think live action remakes should exist. They have no real reason to. And I don't know how long I will even talk about it because at a certain point it's just me complaining because I think these are like really horrible movies that have no, like, people get upset about Marvel movies and this and that. Like, there's no cultural impact from any of these. Such a empty slot of fucking corporate movie studio apathy that I often wonder, like, what is wrong with everyone? Like, there's so few of them have any lasting impact. I think like Little Mermaid does because I still see those dolls around and stuff and t-shirts of her. Clearly they do, and that sucks that everyone has bad taste, but like I just don't get it. But I think I was thinking about this while I was watching this, and I don't know. So I used to be really into like cover songs, Like I used to have a radio show and I play like the original and then I cover, and I love doing that. And I think what makes a real good cover is when an artist sort of makes it their own. They do it in a different way and they make it their own. You can tell it's their version. Like Devo did a Head Like a Hole, but they did it as Devo. It sounds really cool. The best example is probably Johnny Cash's Hurt. Nine Inch Nails on Downward Spiral, that song represents one thing in the context of that album, but Johnny Cash takes it and changes the context. But I think like these movies are not good at doing that. They're like straight ahead covers, but if you did them worse, I actually think the better misinterpretation, because I just said two covers that were like good, would be like Limp Bizkit's cover of Faith, because they were smart enough to go, okay, this is a big pop song from the 80s, and we're like this new metal band, and like, it's like all nice and stuff with the guitar, and I partly thinks that George Michael coming out at the time had a part of it, and they're gonna like do their new metal thing, and he'll scream on it and do the record scratching and stuff, regardless of what you think of Limp Bizkit or something. They did the correct assignment or whatever, where they went, okay, we're going to change the context of this and make it our own, and they do. What I'm saying is there's no Disney live action remake which artistically lives up to Limp Bizkit's cover of George Michael's Faith. I can say that 100% certainty. That is exactly what is going on here, or isn't going on, because Fred Durst and all those guys at least spent a little more time thinking about how making it their own. This doesn't do that at all. It's just trying to recapture moments from a movie, which they will never really be able to adequately recapture. And they try to do something different with it, which they don't. They don't do any. It's just that it's in live action. Some moments are different, but I feel like it's because they wanted to show off that possibly they could be different. But ultimately, it's just watching someone kind of do a very basic, direct cover of something. And often when people do that, you kind of question, why am I not just listening to the other song? And why aren't I watching a much better movie? This was directed by a director I liked his last movie, Marcel the Shell, Dean Fleischer-camp. And he does actually show like more of like Hawaii, kind of tourist Hawaii, and how these people sort of who live in Hawaii have to use tourist Hawaii to make their ends meet and stuff like that. And I liked how they actually tried to capture sort of Hawaii in a sense. It didn't feel as like homey, but it did sort of, I did feel like I was actually seeing Hawaii, some sense of the location this time. Show Hawaii, and I did get a sense they actually like sort of understood like the world they live in, which is part of resorts and stuff like that, and like there was sort of a sense of actually understanding the location and stuff. And there's one part where Stitch has a soda fight with Lilo, which I had soda fights when I was a kid. They had like the little thing at the bar with the gun with the various little buttons. I would just spray soda cans at my friends, and then we'd throw them at each other, and then their mom would be like, why is my back porch sticky? You guys aren't allowed to have sodas by yourselves anymore. So that was actually the only moment that I thought was like something. The rest of this is just like, I don't know. The little girl is fine. I like seeing Tia Carrera again. I liked all the cameos from people, and Jason Scott Lee had a small part, and I thought that was nice. I'm not sure if this had more of the voice cast in more prominent roles than I've ever seen in one of these live action remakes. I don't, they'll have like somebody in a cameo, but these fairly significant, like Tia Carrera is playing for the first social worker, and then they have Cobra Bubbles, then they cut random stuff out, and like the shark guy from the thing. I don't get like why Zach Galifianakis is in this, like as John, but like he's not really good. He doesn't really work with it. I like Chris Sanders is great as Stitch. That has always been true. So that was like the one element that was a little consistent, but I didn't really get like why they turned into people in this. It's like felt like a budget constraint. Like, really, you're saving money on these things. Why didn't you just like not make it? That would have saved a lot of money. I didn't mind the girl who played her sister, but it just had really no sense of itself. And I think like when you look at the original, it's like, done by, Chris Sanders. You should have asked him. But it's very much done in his art style. It's very much like his auteur project. It's very, it felt very human and had all these, had a real soul to it. And this just barely feels like it understands anything. Like, instead of an actual laser gun, he has like a portal gun. I didn't understand why you would change that. I really don't get that. There's so many moments I saw them butcher, and, maybe it's my fault for like watching the original, like not right before, but like a little bit before, and obviously I put out that review of the original one, and also that movie representing something to me, and me having seen it a bunch of times, and me like actually liking it, I guess was a huge disservice to this, which was sort of the TV movie version from the 80s or something. I think the thing I really don't like about live action remakes is the idea is that like, oh hey, now it's a real movie because it's not animation. But like, here's the thing about all that. If that were the case, and if it's true that this is now a real product or something, and it brings it more authenticity because it's now live action, and this like and live action, by the way, is only called that because of animation. No one called it live action. They had to come up with something, a term, to distinguish itself from animation. I don't actually think there's a superior artistic medium in any sense. Some can do something, some can do others. But obviously, there's this kind of connotation with this bullshit. So I will go into that and say this. If this is your big statement of what you can do to animated film and bring it to live action, that is one of the biggest artistic failures I can possibly think of for any medium to contrast itself from another one. If you look at everything live action remakes has done versus animation, it has been an absolute failure for anything that isn't financial. So if you're saying financially, I guess you did it, but artistically, I don't see what any of these have virtually done. They're all very bad. Then they don't do interesting shots in it. Like, I didn't understand like what the point of having the Marcel the Shell person direct a Lilo and Stitch, but like it's like, get a interesting weird foreign director, like do something different with it. But it's like, do the audiences just want to see the thing they can see at home but better, but they want to see it worse and spend a higher ticket price than you did in 2002? Like, I really don't understand anyone's motivation for seeing them. I don't understand them artistically, and this didn't change my mind. It was pretty horrible. It was very bad, and I know there's probably a part in this review I'm supposed to talk about the ending, but by the ending, I was so desensitized to like ever enjoying this movie that like it really didn't surprise me. They kept messing up scenes, like why was Cobra Bubbles' relationship changed sorta, and like what were we doing there? Why isn't Ving Rhames in this? Like what's going on there? Like I just don't get it, and I don't want to get it because it's not good. These are not good movies. They didn't really understand Lilo very well script wise. The whole thing with the sister in college, I think that's more to do with like Disney used to feel very fake to people in the 90s. Like, if you're wondering, the Disney Channel thing didn't really take off until the 2000s. Before that, like, most teenagers did not involve themselves in it because it felt fake. Because every time, one of the things I noticed the few High School Musical I've seen is those kids live in much nicer houses than like the cool 90s kids movies I saw, other than like Clueless, which is like part of the point. But it's like this kind of hidden thing that like teens and like you're supposed to do this like what is considered like the rich way of doing things, the upper class way of doing things. Like, of course, she has to go to college because that is considered the respectable thing, whereas in the original she doesn't. She makes a home with aliens and hangs out with her sister. But then when we're looking at this and the change they make, it's not set up very well. It makes no fucking sense, frankly, other than like she needs to go to college. And there's kind of this like upper class selfishness that Disney very much pushes within their media that I've never particularly liked. And I think people should go to college, and if they can financially, and it's going to help them personally or their jobs and stuff. But like that moment didn't really work at all, and it just felt like them pushing a bunch of screenwriters and directors and stuff who didn't fully who think that is just what people should do, not thinking about like the actual specifications of a character and like how they would react and where's she getting this money from. They're like, you can go to college with what money? They're barely making ends meet. That makes no fucking sense. Like, they didn't even consider that. Like, it's just like, did she have like a fucking scholarship ready to go? It really did not work. But it speaks to the whole movie. Like, there's no real thought to any of these moments. Like the soda thing, I thought made sense because I have memories of that as a kid. I liked doing that. It's like, oh, okay, Stitch is gonna do a silly thing, but everything else was just like, well, the other movie did that, so I gotta do that. And you go, oh, well, we changed, but like, what was the reason for it? I didn't see anything from Nani that made her different and made her think. You made you go like, oh, she would really like to do this, but there's never a part where like she's looking at, I think, was it a marine biologist? There's never anything you see that her interest at all. Like, if that had been playing throughout the whole movie, it would make sense, but it just feels like something you're supposed to do at that age, not something that made sense for that character. And that's so many of these moments. Like, this is something Stitch is supposed to do, not something that Stitch would do as a character. Same with Lilo. Like, what the whole like giving a sandwich to the fish thing didn't work. Obviously that would not work in live action as well as it did in animation. It's and that sandwich looked fake as fuck. Like, what was going on there? I just like, you could say like, oh, it's just a movie for kids. Oh, people who watch these, they don't really care about this stuff. Whatever, I guess. But like, these are really the kind of like pretending like 2 rice cakes is a meal of cinema. This is really the only roller coaster bullshit of them. I cannot stand this crap anymore. I'm really sick of it. I hate people who go, no, but this one looks good. Really, this is the one. Unless one of the Wachowskis comes back to do one of these things, please stop making them. They are not good. They do not offer audiences anything. They are just like empty vessels of corporate media, and that's really all they are. I hope one day someone can do an interesting one and do something interesting with it, but that is not what's going on here. No one really gives a good performance. I like seeing the old people. Chris Sanders, I guess, was good, but all the live action people I just thought were like pretty bad. I didn't understand what was going on here. Like, why were we recreating moments? Like, what was the purpose of it? Like, that's the thing. It's like, how come like the great remakes are things that change the context? You use Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven. Most of them are, I can think of, are probably remakes of Kurosawa stuff, but they changed it. They changed it from samurai to cowboy. This is like, oh, you changed from Stitch to Stitch. Like, I don't. What is that? What are we doing here? You did a direct thing. And most people, when they do a direct cover song, they're showing off their ability. They're showing off what they can do. This movie doesn't do that, and live action doesn't do that. It's not a good movie. This whole idea of remaking them is an absolute failure, and it's a failure of the medium itself, of live action as a medium, to think they can replace this without giving a fuck about it whatsoever. This is made by people who thumb their noses at animation. And if they're going to thumb their nose at my shit, I'm never going to like your shit. But because I've always been able to tell this is fake as fuck. And the people who make it are fake as fuck and have no authenticity to themselves whatsoever. If you're going to take something with a ton of authenticity and rip it out of it, don't expect me to act like this is artistic or anything other than just, a sellout bullshit move that will never be anything other than forgettable, because I really doubt anybody's going to give a fuck about this shit in a year's time, and definitely not in a decade, and definitely not further than that. You've advanced nothing but your own selfish bullshit careers and made a really bad movie. This is why I don't review these most of the time. I can't cut them out. So if you've seen the Lilo and Stitch live action remake, and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.